I remember a time where YouTubers were able to speak their mind. Nowadays, it seems like they're afraid to speak up with their career on the line. This makes YouTubers less genuine and transparent. To me, it feels like they're more interested in making money than anything else. Are YouTubers the ones to blame? How did it come to this? I grew up watching the old commentary YouTubers like Whiteboy7 Street, CNNers, Hatch, with his gamertag, etc. These YouTubers seem to be open to share their opinion on almost anything. They weren't extremely careful, like most YouTubers today, when it came to hard-hitting topics like politics or religion. This made them feel more real to me than YouTubers today. I could relate to them way more, and they actually felt like real people. It seems like YouTubers today can't have an opinion that is outside of the politically correct one, so they are either afraid to speak up or just side with whatever is politically correct. It used to be a separation between the celebrity and the YouTuber. We originally fell in love with the YouTuber because we could relate with them. Here's this ordinary guy making videos and talking about life that isn't that different from your own. He had the same problems you had, maybe the same passions, and weren't afraid to share his thoughts on things. The celebrity, however, had a more closed-off life. You didn't know how they were like, and therefore couldn't relate to them the same way. The YouTuber today has almost bridged the gap. Now they feel like a celebrity more than anything else. Ask yourself, do you see like the big YouTubers today, KSI, Logan Paul, MrBeast, etc. are more like YouTubers or celebrities? I would personally say they feel more like celebrities. They don't feel as real to me as they once used to. So how did it come to this? Why do the YouTubers feel faker than ever? And why does it seem to affect almost every YouTuber? A big factor is the apocalypse. The apocalypse was when advertisers found out their ads were being displayed on videos which they deemed to be too offensive, controversial, or extreme. The advertisers discovered this through the big controversy when PewDiePie made his anti-Semitic jokes back in 2017, which was essentially what started the apocalypse. It made the advertisers pull out one by one and forced YouTube to make changes. Becoming monetized on YouTube was now more difficult than ever. You had to make your content more family-friendly, stop swearing, and talk about less controversial topics in order to make the most money. This was back when YouTubers were way less afraid of speaking their mind, and perhaps even went a bit too far. We had the edgy YouTubers like Leafy, Ricegum, Pyrocynical, and H3H3, who thrived on making videos, basically bullying others. In some cases, their videos, quote-unquote bullying others, could be justified, especially with all the outrageous pranksters making videos back then. But in many cases, they just bullied innocent people who never looked for any trouble. These YouTubers and others who made edgy content had to change their content entirely, or they risked getting demonetized, which made them not be able to make any money at all. But is the apocalypse the only reason? That was back in 2017, and it seems like things are even worse now than it was back then. YouTubers seem to be more afraid than ever to speak up. I think the apocalypse never really stopped. It just slowed down. It made communities aware of the impact they had on brands. The advertisers are interested in making money, and when enough people boycott a certain brand, they have to make changes. Today we see more and more companies just give in to certain ideas to make people happy. A great example of this is when a company doesn't support LGBTQ. It makes big headlines, and they are forced to support it, or they lose too much revenue. With brands constantly changing their identity, YouTube has to constantly enforce new rules in order to make the advertisers happy. Without the advertisers, YouTube doesn't make any money. And with YouTube constantly enforcing new rules, they continue to give the creators less and less freedom. Before the internet, and even in its earlier days, companies were able to get away with a lot more mistakes. Now if they make even one tiny misstep, it could severely damage their reputation. Today everybody will post about it on social media, and it's impossible for them to sweep anything under the rug. People will judge them on their every move. The internet has also made it able to make communities a lot easier, and some of them became large movements, with shared opinions, morals and beliefs. Large movements would always have a few bad apples, and when they're so big, that is actually a lot of people. These people will go to extreme lengths in order to support what they believe in. When a company makes a mistake, these do what they can to try to cancel the brand entirely. The media are like the angry mobs with pitchforks from back in the day, before the age of the internet. So the cycle goes. An angry mob is mad about a certain issue. The brands have to make changes to please the mob. YouTube have to make changes accordingly with the brand, which then makes YouTubers be able to talk about less and less in order to make money. With today's society, this loop keeps happening at a rapid pace. We are more split than ever, and angry mobs from both sides of the political spectrum keeps forming all the time. If you say one wrong word, people will draw the worst possible conclusion to what you said. They twist your words and spin it into something you didn't mean at all. This is mostly because people keep bringing politics into everything. There is a saying that politics is best when no one talks about it. Talking about politics sometimes is fine, but when everyone constantly brings up political issues and ties everything to politics, it creates division. Think about how much friendlier a conversation usually is when no one wants to bring up politics all the time. A lot of people today seem to be filled with hate and have tunnel vision on their own opinion. So is the YouTuber to blame? Their career is on the line, and it's what makes them money at the end of the day. If they want to make money, their content has to be clean. They sometimes even have to comply with YouTube's rules in order to just stay on the platform. I at least feel like in many cases, their fear of saying something wrong is so big, they struggle with opening up at all, and just agree with whatever is politically correct. When do you ever hear a YouTuber nowadays disagree with the public opinion? I feel like in many instances, they are allowed to have a different opinion, but chooses not to, in order to not get negative backlash from the hate-filled society we now live in. And in the rare cases where a YouTuber does express an opinion, which deviates from the politically correct one, they have to make an apology video, now agreeing with the politically correct opinion, in order to counter the negative backlash they get. A perfect example of this was when KSI said that Wade, who is a boxing promoter, was fake because he constantly changed up his opinions in order to please everyone, basically standing for nothing. When the backlash got too big, he had to switch up and do a complete 180 by apologizing to Wade. Another similar example was when Logan Paul scammed his fans with CryptoZoo, which was his own cryptocurrency, and CoffeeZilla exposed him. First he went out and said that CoffeeZilla was a fraud and a criminal, but when the backlash from this got too big, he did a 180 as well, and apologized to CoffeeZilla. This makes the YouTubers, like I said earlier, feel more like celebrities. They don't feel as real to me as they once used to. They have become too careful with what they say, but they also know that if they say one wrong word, people can spin it and draw the worst possible conclusion to what they said. But ask yourself what you would do if you were in their position. Wouldn't you be careful as well if your career was on the line? Or would you sacrifice your career in order to speak what you believed was the truth?